Hi, welcome. We're so excited today to have an amazing conversation with a wonderful person who we've begun collaboration with in Israel, Ariela. I'm sorry about that. Berdugo has done so much important work in Israel for the stillbirth community. So I'm going to invite her on, and I look forward to having this wonderful conversation. See, everybody is joining, and she will be here now. Great.
Oh, hi, Reva. Hello, how
Hi,
are you?
welcome. I'm always excited when technology works.
Yes,
That is
definitely.
Yeah, I and I think my social media person, Sandy, who's going to be coming on, will be equally proud. So I already introduced you. I may have messed your last name up again, but we're gonna try it.
That's me.
Welcome, Ariela Brudargo. Did I say that right?
Verdugo. Verdugo.
Verdugo.
Yes, yes, yes.
Verdugo. Welcome today. I am so excited to have you here. I know we met by phone on a few months ago. And when you gave me that first call, I was so happy because I've been doing this a long time. Our firstborn son passed away 37 years ago, and there was no support. And when I meet somebody like you, who is so active in this community and helping so many people in Israel, I just have to share you with all of our followers, and I want them to get to meet you. So let's start. Welcome, and I'm
Thank you.
tell everybody where you are right now.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much, Reva, for inviting me to this live together with you. And I'm super excited to talk with your community and really share the amazing story about the creation of the animation movie. And I also want to thank you for the generous donation that Nechama Comfort made for really helping us make it happen. So thank you so much for that. And
It's our pleasure. And We're going to talk
yes.
about talking about in a little bit. So stay tuned to our viewers.
Great, great. Um, so would you like me to start just about the
Yeah,
background
tell us a little. You're in Israel.
about
Which
myself?
which
Yeah,
which community in Israel are you in?
I'm from Israel,
Right.
pretty much the center of Israel. Yes, and I've been active in this field for the last 2 years. Actually, before starting to do any activity in the field of pregnancy loss and stillbirth, I was actually working in the high-tech industry for 15 years. And about almost 7 years, actually, just next month it will be 7 years.
Mm.
Um, so we went through a stillbirth of expecting a girl, and we had a 3-year-old son at home, and we were very excited about the pregnancy. And then at the very late stage, I went for really the last checkup before giving birth, and I could very easily miss it. We suddenly learned that there was a very serious issue going on, and they immediately rushed us to do a lot of checks. Um, then we got the news that it just we had to stop the pregnancy, and obviously that was very shocking for us and very devastating. And we really didn't know where it came from. Very surprising for us, and it took us a long time to recover and to really understand what just happened. How did we move from expecting a baby girl to be in this situation? Um, and then I knew that something very big happened, and I knew that I had to take care of myself and go to therapy and try to put the pieces back together. But I knew that there was a certain layer of it that I wouldn't be able to get into so much because I wanted to build my family and I wanted to get pregnant again. So the time passed by. I got to have three pregnancies afterwards, and today I'm a proud mother for four kids, three
Oh,
boys and a girl,
wonderful,
and that's
wonderful.
super exciting. Yes. And when I was pregnant with my fourth girl, I felt that it's time to look back and see, um, go back and revisit what happened because I knew that there were there were a few things left unattended. So then this is when I started thinking about doing a podcast. And for my friends and family, that was very surprising because it was something that I didn't talk about so much. Um, and I definitely didn't come from the media or anything. I was working in the high tech industry, but I felt this calling to do that.
Right.
And I started just learning the field and I created the podcast. It's called, well, translated to English, it's called The Good Hands.
How do you say
Um,
it?
הידיים הטובות.
Yeah, that much. Beautiful.
Yes, yes, and I'm very proud to say that today there are 25 episodes of the podcast, basically closing season one, and really 25 episodes looking into the event of stillbirth from a lot of angles, from the couple's perspective, from what happens in the marriage, from the academic perspective about research showing that stillbirth is very related to post-traumatic stress and experience and depression. Really looking at even from the government field and a lot of areas and all the questions that I always wanted to ask. I even hosted like the first episode is I'm telling my story just because like
Right.
nobody knew me, so how did I come to do that? And the second episode is I hosted every time I hosted somebody to come, I invited them to a specialist or somebody from the field, and I hosted the therapist that really helped me for a year, and we did something a little bit innovative because it's not very common for a therapist to have an open discussion with a patient and
Right.
really look into the process and what we did. But I felt that I really wanted to look into what I experienced to help others, and it's the number one episode. There are more. Yeah, most people are hearing that episode, which is very interesting.
The therapist, the one
The
with the
therapist, yeah, the one with the therapist.
yeah.
She's also a very special person, so it was very interesting. And then I really brought a lot of things that helped me, treatment or things that people can do, and it really became um, very supportive for women going through stillbirth, supporting them in their process, in processing the grief, in understanding what's happening to them, normalizing, giving words to the experience. And I'm getting such amazing reactions to it, and I'm super proud of it.
Wow. First of all, I'm so sorry for your the loss of your little girl that lives in your hopes and dreams as we share. And but you're so inspirational to
Yeah,
really
thank you.
know when we at Nakama Comfort is we try to help the couple, the families, how do they put their child that lives in their hopes and dreams into their lives and to move through it. And you are a shining example about this, but also about how it's a journey. It's a real journey.
Yes,
Uh, so if you don't mind, I just wanted to ask you some questions.
sure.
Just, if any of our followers are listening, the podcasts are in Hebrew. Um, I promised Ariela and my father, who's put me through a day school, to start really trying to understand the podcast. I'm going to listen to them during the day to see what I can understand. But um, I wanted just to go back a little bit. When you were growing up, you grew up in the center of Israel. In
I grew
which town?
up in the north of Israel, close to Haifa.
Close to Haifa. So you were growing up, right? Typical community. We had a typical life, whatever that means. You were in the army. In
Yes,
the army.
yes, I was. I was 5 years. I was an officer. Yeah.
Wow, an officer. And then you met your husband afterwards, after the
Yes,
in the army.
yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
So you planned your life, like you said. You wanted to get married. You were in the tech field, and then all of a sudden you hear about a stillbirth. And had you ever known anybody in the family, anybody around you that had any pregnancy and infant loss?
Nobody that went through stillbirth.
Right,
I heard about it, but I didn't really know what it
right,
was and what it meant, and I didn't see it coming. Like I didn't think that this is something that could happen to me.
right,
I think that sometimes we have this feeling like we get pregnant and we could already see the end, and we could see ourselves holding the baby. And I remember washing the clothes and preparing
right,
everything. And it's like it's not a scenario. Like I was pregnant for 9 months. I I'm already at the end of it.
right,
No way. I mean, how can that
right.
happen?
And your birth of your, how old was your
My
son? Is
my son was 3
three
years old.
old.
Yes.
And you went through a regular delivery for the baby?
Yes.
Yes.
It was regular
They
delivery. Yes.
to spend
Everything.
time with the baby and give the baby a name. Were you able to do that?
Uh, we chose to say goodbye, and it was obviously very tough moment and very very sad. And we also chose to participate in the barrier, like to go to the cemetery and
Right,
to be there. And I think it's one of the challenges that we have in specifically for Jewish people, and that we don't have any shiva. So I think it what it does is just I mean, I understand the background of it because I investigated a bit on
right,
why it's like that. But I think that the other side of it is that it really leaves the families a bit more alone, because in Shiva it's very common for people to come in and to share their respect and share their sympathy. And in a stillbirth, it's just the door is closed, so people feel less comfortable. So they're less comfortable calling or saying anything or mentioning or even discussing it.
you're right. I think that I know for my husband and I, that was one of the questions that we had. And I think what I came to realize is that maybe God had a little sympathy, rachamim, that if we were sort of forced into Shiva, if we didn't feel like doing it, we'd feel guilty. There would be a whole process. But we've also, and I share with you, and that's what Nechama Comfort shares, that it's about choices. That's really
Yes.
what we learned, because there is nothing formal guiding us. You need to create our own, and to share that. And I'm so glad that you are trying to do that in Israel as well. When you said you found a therapist, was it easy to find somebody who understood about
I no,
children?
I think it's a challenge because I think there are not a lot of therapists that really understand the area of stillbirth and pregnancy loss. And I think in the last few years there is a lot of information accumulated from research, from investigation going on, from the field coming, from activists, from organizations, and it really became a specific field that I think I do see a lot of therapists going, not a lot, but some therapists going through some
Right.
training on the area. we do see it in the last few years, and I think it will continue to grow. But for women, they are looking for support for somebody that does understand this specific experience, and I think it's something that should keep growing. And for me, I'm trying to bring the knowledge, or because in the last 2 years, I'm really investigating that, and I'm really learning about that, and what is stillbirth, and what does it mean from trauma perspective, from body perspective, the whole experience of pregnancy after loss. And I'm trying to bring that knowledge to therapists, and I'm trying to do some webinars for them and help them get that knowledge. And there is some interest, and I have a community on Facebook of 150 therapists that are treating women in all kinds of ways, men and women. So I am trying to, and I know they're hearing the podcast, and some of them are very interested in that. So I expect it to continue to grow.
No, it's definitely growing. We've seen a big change in the attitude of professionals, communities. We've done a lot of training in Jewish communities as well. And I think that the stigma is really downgraded. It's not that it is, and people really see the importance of the grief journey and dealing with that. So, wow, I just want to say wow. So when we first connected was a few months ago. Wow, I think over 6 months ago already. Uh,
Yes.
I get this text from you. Alyssa Rappaport from Candles of Hope near Tikva connected us, who also does amazing work. And I couldn't believe it, what I was reading, what you were inviting me to, what was happening. Tell us about the day in October in the Knesset.
The the day of the
Yeah,
Knesset event,
yeah,
right? So back in May, so I invited a Knesset member called Sharen Eskel to join me to do an episode in the podcast and talk about what can we do more in terms of the government and the country and the law and what is going on. And this specific Knesset member, Sharon, so she initiated a study from the Knesset Research Organization to see what are the numbers, the stillbirth and pregnancy loss numbers in Israel in the last few years. So I I could see that she has some relation to the topic,
right.
and that we could talk about it. And we had an amazing meeting, and she was very open and very honest and very caring about the topic. And afterwards, I asked her, look, there is so much that we need to do, because as I was preparing for the episode with her, I asked a lot of women that went through stillbirth, what do you think, or what do you feel needs to be done? And I got this long list that I showed her, and I said, what do we do with it? And she said, we could organize a special meeting in this topic in the Knesset. And I said, that's amazing. And that was back in May, and October is the awareness month globally. So I suggested, let's coordinate a meeting for October. And she and her team were really eager to go ahead and do it. And I called the two organizations we have in Israel, and it's Otzot Inbar and Candles of Hope. And I said, let's all join forces and work together to create this special meeting. And we really worked intensively for a few months. First of all, we built the list of participants, everybody we wanted to invite, and it's really everybody in Israel that has to do anything with the topic, from the hospitals to government organizations. Really, a lot of people. We structured a list of like 100 people that are very relevant to the topic. That are acting in that, and we built the list of topics that we wanted to cover, especially in this year. With October 7th, we put a strong emphasis on that because it really had an impact on that topic as well. And in the end of October, we had the very special meeting in the Knesset. We got the main stage, the Jerusalem conference room, the largest one, and I have to say that it was so such a special event. It was so emotional to get this respected floor to talk about this topic, and we had a lot of Knesset members coming in and saying how important that is. And for me personally, it was very powerful to just to be there and to think that I took part in getting that done. So that was a very special day and
I mean,
really amazing.
it was, you invited us, which I
Yes,
was so happy. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there in person, maybe next year. But we did have two representatives. Two of our
yes.
managers were there. So I got to watch the whole thing. And I cried. I had tears in my eyes sitting in my living room here in New Jersey. It was for me, who's been involved with these families, to see recognition, to understand. And what really touched me, and I know I had asked you a few times, was, especially when we live outside of Israel, we're hearing about
Mm-hmm.
the war, the hostages. It's number one in our hearts and our minds and everything. And I know that when I started to do our programming in Israel, we have case managers, we have programming for English speaking, for Anglos, that people years ago told me that, in the 70s and 80s, 60s even, they couldn't talk about pregnancy loss because people were losing children in the army, in the war, terrorist attacks. And that was interesting. But so what really touched me was that people understood that it's not a matter of what's worse, what's the situation. We all know what's going on in Israel is horrific, the losses, the trauma. But the community of people with pregnancy and infant loss have trauma too. And
Yes.
what you showed is what we've been, trying to talk about, is that it's so individual that you can have your own trauma grief journey, get the help at the same time with people that are being taken care of on a national personal level. And I think that was represented. I remember I said, "Are you canceling it? Are you canceling it?" And you said no. And it was amazing. And, just to touch base, how you had people talk about what it's like to have your spouse in the army when you're going through your loss. We know we have clients that tell me they're going through uh,
Mm-hmm.
fertility treatments, and their husbands are away, and the losses. And I know in the beginning of the war, my clients were telling me that their husbands were able to come out if they were going on fertility journeys or if there was a loss. But as the war intensified and they were deep into Gaza or Lebanon, they couldn't. So where's that extra layer of support? And I think that's really what the beauty of that day was. Exactly what we in this community of pregnancy if you lost want people to understand, and you accomplished it in kol hakavod. That's
Thank you, Reva.
amazing, and I
Thank you.
thank you for inviting us to be a part of it. Um, so let's just share a little bit what we teased people about before, the film.
The film.
The film, and I apologize because my technical advisor told me we can't share the film on Insta Live, but we will share the
The
link.
link.
It'll be on the Chama Comfort's website as well, and we can go to your
In
information.
my profile as well, it's pinned there at the top.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. You want to share with us what is your profile? What is your what
Berdugo, Ariela.
Berdugo
Yeah.
Ariela?
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about the film, the idea of the.
Okay. So a very special project. As I was starting to deal with this topic and a lot of aspects of it. I think one of the things that we keep seeing that there is a very strong issue with awareness and people not really understanding what does it mean to go through stillbirth and how it affects men and women when people don't really understand
Mhm.
and how they're left really alone with it. And I was trying to think what can we do about it. And then I was exposed to the work of Yoni Goodman, who is an award-winning animator in Israel. He created one of his known work is Vals with Bashir, which is a movie that won the Oscars. And in the October 7th, when it started, so he created a short animation about the hostages to raise awareness for two brothers that were kidnapped from their homes, so to explain that to the world. And as I was watching it, I thought, wow, animation is such a powerful tool because it really tells the story so well. And I started thinking that it fits the topic of stillbirths in such a perfect way. So I started dreaming about it, and I said, "Wow, it could be such a interesting thing to do together."
Powerful. Very.
Powerful, definitely. So I reached out to Yoni and I presented myself and I said, "Look, I have this dream. What do you think?" And he said, "Well, that sounds interesting. We can definitely do something." And we started brainstorming some ideas. Um, and then he said, "Okay, we could do it, but it will cost us. It will cost money, and the price was not cheap at all." And I said, "Okay, first of all, you start working on the project. I will get the money. I will make sure that we get it done." Because doing an animation film is a lot of work. So it was like 6 months of work from well, basically from May until the end of October. In the Knesset event, it was the first time that we presented it.
Right.
So it was intense work. So I said, okay, this is happening. I need somebody to work with me on that, a partner, because I cannot do that alone. And I called Ella Neumann from Nitzotzot in Bal. I did not know Ella before, but I don't know. I had this.
Share for a second with our who's watching. What is that organization? What?
So Nitzotzot in Bar is a non-profit organization in Israel
Right.
that deals with stillbirths, but they do also other activities.
Yeah.
Um, and Ella started this organization a few years ago. She went through stillbirth
Right.
herself, um, and she's very passionate and very active about the topic, and she does a lot of things. And I heard about her, and I knew that she was doing amazing work, but we never met. And I called her, and I presented myself, and I talked about this project very passionately. And she said, "You know what? I'm with you. Let's do it. Let's do it together." And it was so special to me that she didn't know me, but she trusted me, and she went to this project, to this journey together with me. And from that day, we started working very intensively together. Eh, and basically, we did a lot of things. First of all, we had to write the script, the story of of how can we, because there are so many things that can happen in stillbirth, and we cannot touch everything, but we want to convey the experience. We want to convey the challenges, what the women, the women and the men are going through, and even the kids if they have kids at
Yeah.
home.
It's
So
very.
we started building the script, and we really had debates and hours of conversation about every small thing in the script, because first of all, we didn't want to hurt anyone, or somebody saying, "No, it's not the reality," or "It's not what's going on," or "Why are you saying it like that?" So it was very in our mind to make sure that we're conveying the story in the best way. And the second thing is we started a fundraising to start raising money for making that happen. And that was a big challenge, because in a year of war, where everybody is raising money for
Well,
very good reasons, right?
mhm.
For
Yeah.
There was
Yep.
so many causes that people needed to donate for, and stillbirth was really not at the top of the list,
Right.
not even close. So that was a huge challenge, like getting it out there, raising money from, first of all, we raised money from families that
Yeah.
went through it, and it was very touching to see giving the donation in the name of the baby that was lost. It was very something very special. And I started reaching out to everyone that I could,
Thank God
and
you reached us.
I,
Thank God.
and I reached out to
Right.
you as well, and you didn't know me, and I called you and I said, look, there is this amazing project, and we want to do it, and it was really
It's
it was
go ahead. Finish.
yeah. So it was a special experience, and everybody every organization, every person that donated was so special. It really made it happen, and we slowly started collecting the money, and eventually we got it, and we were able to fund the film. And it's a just to give an explanation, so it's a 90-minute animation.
I
Oh,
did.
90 seconds, sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
very short, a minute and a half. We wanted to keep it very short, because this is the level of attention
Right.
that people have today.
Yeah.
And it's only the animation and the sound. So there is no, we wanted to keep it very viral. So a woman going through stillbirth in Israel or in the US or in Canada or in Africa will
Right.
understand it
Right.
and can relate to it. Um, and the result was amazing. I think the most important feedback was it conveys the experience so well, and women writing us, oh, we shared it with our family so they could understand what we went through. So it was so special.
It is, it truly was so powerful. And what's beautiful about it was that you include in these 90 seconds the feelings of the father and of the child and of the other children. And the title is Broken Son. What I
Mm-hmm.
love about it, a lot of over the years, any type of grief animation or descriptions always has a cloud over somebody's head. I have many slides in my presentation like that. What I love about it was that it was a broken sun, that it's broken, but there's still sun coming through. So, um, and again, it's universal. Just we have clients all over the world, and it's universal. And
Yes.
after this, after this interview, I'm going to be sharing it to all of our connections, and we're so happy that we were able to sponsor it, because what the other half of what we do is like you, education and awareness and training. On our website, we have a list of do's and don'ts, plain and simple, what to say and what not to say. And the film really explains to everyone. And, we work with families, early miscarriage, stillbirth, through the age of one. But it really is for any family
Mm-hmm.
going through pregnancy and infant loss. So really, I want to thank you for that. Share with us just for a couple more seconds, which I love the term. Tell us in Hebrew how you say stillbirth,
So stillbirth in Hebrew is לידה שקטה.
which means
לידה is birth, and שקטה is quiet.
quiet. And I love that.
Silence,
The first
yes.
time I heard that, I love that term because it makes it still a person, that it's a person. So I love that. Um, and I just, I want to thank you for coming on today. I think it's going to be the first of many, many conversations that we're going to have together and with the rest of the communities around the world. We were already talking between ourselves a future of collaboration, what we can do to help this community, the community here around the world, in the States, in the Anglo communities, and in Israel, and to share our information with everyone, to be able, the goal is that nobody should ever feel alone
Yes.
going through this loss. And you have really taken um, your child who, um, people ask me, now you understand. My son's name was Pesach, and why he had to pass away. And I always say to them, no, I will never understand that. But I know that we can do something with our loss, and you don't have to create these wonderful organizations. It's everybody's individual journey. And Ariela, I am so happy that you joined us today. Uh, it is the beginning of it's already been a beginning of a friendship. The men
Yes,
I want to add support and to do good work. So continue your good work, continue doing what you do in Israel. Of course, we're all praying for peace soon. The hostages should all be released, but to have people understand that all over we're together to help support each other.
definitely. And Riva, I want to thank you as well. First of all, for opening the door, for not knowing me, but being a true collaborator and really getting into the projects and the initiatives and really caring about the topic and all the amazing work that you do. And I got to hear some presentations that you made in conferences in Israel. And this is how I got to know you and the Nechama Comfort Organization. And for the generous donation that really made this film happen, because every donation matters for making something in this field. And I'm sure that we will do amazing things together.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for inviting me for this live.
Thank you. And I will practice my Hebrew so I can. That'll be one of my goals.
Definitely.
All right. Lila Tov. Have a
Laila
good
Tov.
night.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.